Hey guys, so this is another digital art update video. I'm gonna do this video a little different than I was doing the previous ones, which were screen capture videos. I feel like those are a little bit impersonal and I can do some cooler stuff by filming the iPad this way. It makes it a little bit more like my Sketchbook update videos, which I liked a lot better, and I feel like really what I'm doing here is a digital sketchbook, so that's why the video is called Digital Sketchbook Update. So let's pop open the first drawing. These drawings I did a while back, but I figure I'd show you everything I've kind of been working on. So this is kind of a robot in a box, like maybe she's being shipped somewhere. And so at this stage of the drawing, you can see me just blocking in shapes. And I basically treated the screen of the iPad like my box, and she's just pressed up against the sides. I started out with skin tones, just kind of from a basic skin tone menu. And then right here you can see I kind of added the spaces between the shell that is her skin. And one trick, let me pause this real quick and zoom in. So when I do these like edges, and I do these on all my robots, I always add like little highlights on one side. So if my light source is coming from over here, I'll add a thin highlight on one side and then I'll darken the outside. And I feel like it just gives it a little bit of depth, which I like. So you can kind of, so with this, being able to control the video a little bit better, I can go back and forth and kind of just, I mean, you can see I have a lot more control over the drawing, so I feel like this is going to be a little bit more informative. So right here, you can see I added pink. I felt like she was looking a little bit too yellow. I wanted her to have a little bit more skin tone, so right here I go over everything with a little bit more of a pink color, and I add it in all my shadows, but I leave the where the light is strongest, kind of more of a yellow color. And some of this, like where I'm darkening things, I keep adding darks, but I never really go dark enough. A lot of times I'll add contrast later in the drawing, and that's just not knowing where I want my value scale sometimes. And so I'm just kind of messing around with it. But anyway, so right here you can see I add a little bit more of those little lines, thinner ones this time. So let's zoom in on a few of those. It's nice, you can see, and then you can see the highlights that I'm adding. It just really makes them look like they're indentions in the kind of shell of her skin. So at this point in the drawing, I do feel like it's a little bland for what I was going for. I added some bright colors, and I don't know. I like it at this point, but what I do is then I add saturation to everything. And right here you can see me mess around with textures, and that's to get away from that real smooth look that the drawing has. And then I get really crazy with some lightning bolts and things like that. And then I add this kind of border around it so that it's kind of like a screen. And right here you have the finished version. I should probably show you, because I can go in and let's open that one up real quick. So right here you have the finished drawing. And I feel like sometimes when I do those videos where you just watch the screen capture, you don't get an idea of how I actually draw it. There's quite a few layers here. We can turn off some of these. So if you're not familiar with Procreate, it's a very dumbed down version of Photoshop, but I like that. It's very simple, you can just draw. So you can kind of see I added textures on the face, and I did this. First let me say, the primary brush I use is the Nico Rule, this one right here. And I do all my drawing with this brush, like 90% of it. And it is very, let me get rid of that. It's just a simple square brush. You can see me adjusting it right there. And when I want to create a shape, I just do that. When I want it smaller, I just make it smaller. So I love that brush for pretty much everything. All my 99% of the work I do, I use that. And then I also use for like this stuff, you can use these luminous, this one's light pen. And you can see this is what I did all the electrical stuff with. And these are awesome, super simple tools. In Procreate, that's one big reason why I like Procreate so much, is just it feels like you just have a drawing pad in front of you, like a sketchbook, but you're just free to do any colors and effects you want, but it's very simple. It's not complex like Photoshop can be. So this is the next drawing I did, which this is kind of like a cityscape with some weird vampire people. My colors, purple and green and yellow. This is supposed to be a night scene, so I wanted to keep it real dark. This is just me blocking in shapes and stuff like that. And one of the things that, like, while I'm doing this, a lot of the stuff I rework multiple times. I don't really know what I'm doing or what I'm after. So I mean, this is, as you get better as an artist, you become much more efficient because you become aware of what you're actually trying to achieve much sooner. A lot of times I'm just like fumbling around trying to figure things out as I work, which that's really how I learn best. So that's just my thing. Some people, can watch somebody do something and know exactly how to do it, and then they can go and do it. But me, I have to work through stuff. So you can kind of see right here, I had my vampire people, and I don't even think, like, when I got to this point, like, I knew what I was really gonna do. And then I was like, you know what, this would be a cool, like, place for, like, weird vampire people to be hanging out. So that's where I added them. I had a little guy up here, a couple standing here, and then it still felt a little plain, so I added the foreground character. And you can kind of see, I blocked something in, but then I realized I want them a little bit bigger compositionally, and that's one awesome thing about working digitally is you can just change that immediately. So, and I really like this thing's face. Some of the stuff, details that I do in Procreate or digital art never gets seen on Instagram because it's just so small. I do really like the way it's kind of like a robot, like vampire undead type thing, something like that. But when you zoom in, I almost think that, like, if I just done this much of the drawing, it'd be better, and just focused on the face a little bit more, versus being pulled so far out. I used a Gaussian blur on the background, and that's just to take the edge off it so it doesn't compete so much with my foreground character. Just like if you were using a camera, you're gonna have things further away be blurry. So when I did that, it dulls down all my lights and stuff like that. So you'll see right here, I go back through and I add in all those real bright, like, neon lights to make the street really pop. And then, this is me experimenting with some of those weird brushes, light sources and stuff like that. One really cool brush that I'll show you is, like, with the hair right here. This is a brush I use all the time for hair, and I just love it. And it's not even a hair brush. It is, so I'll zoom in right here. So this brush is the, let's see, where is that? Elements, I think it's Flames. Yeah. So you can kind of see, it just adds, it's just so cool, like, how easy it is to do something like that. Just to add some highlights to the hair, and it's so wispy. I just like the way that it looks, especially against some of those real hard edges on her face and stuff. So that's that drawing, which, it's kind of a fun one, kind of a cool scene. So this last drawing I'm gonna show you is kind of like a little robot guy. And you can kind of see right here, this is a lot of times how I start when I'm doing concepts or something. I'll just mess around with some shapes, just start putting things together, and you can see how this guy morphs. Like, I'm stretching him, I'm pulling him. I'm like, you know what? I feel like maybe he should be like an army guy. He was kind of like a weird little bunny robot army dude. So, but I like this one a lot. It's always funny to me when, let's say I post something to Instagram and people don't really like it a whole lot. Like, I don't get a lot of likes on certain things, and I'm like, well, I really like that one. I wonder why people didn't respond to that. And I never really know, to be honest. I have a very bad sense of what people will enjoy, and it's not like I'm after likes. It's just always interesting that, like, what people respond to. And this was just a quick drawing. You can see how fast it happened, but you can see, like, I'll show you that arm, how that kind of came together. So if you look right here, his arm is kind of short and up on him, and I wanted to extend that arm down, make it look like he's really coming out. So I just select it and stretch it, and then put a little bar in there, and it just makes it so much more aesthetically pleasing, at least to me. I like the color scheme of this guy, the gold with the green. I feel like I don't know. And then right there, watch, I still feel like it's unbalanced, so I make the whole arm way bigger. And so this is kind of like this huge arm that he has and his fingernails are like laser fingernails maybe, so he can slice things up. And then you can kind of just see me tweak with a lot of stuff right here. I'm messing around with his face in different ways. I'll stretch it. And a lot of time, I mean, that's the freedom you have with doing digital work, is you can just experiment so much. I learned so much, and it's so great for me because, like I said earlier, I learn by doing, and this allows me to just be free to do all different kinds of stuff. So that's one reason I really am enjoying the digital art right now.
So that's the video. I hope you guys liked it. Sorry for the big breaks in videos as of the last couple of months. I've got a new PC. I've switched video editing software, so now I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro, which I'm just now getting the handle on things. So I feel like I'm pretty confident going forward and get these videos banged out a lot quicker. So I'll have more videos, better videos, hopefully. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.